UAC, Change Nigeria. Can we rise for our opening prayer? And that is the second stanza of the national anthem. God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth that truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty height attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Change Nigeria. Nigeria first. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Let me commence this by apologizing that against our tradition, we are starting this program behind schedule. In UAC, if we say our program is 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock. If we say it is 12 noon, we start on the dot of 12. So, but this morning, our technical people are trying to get their art very correct to make the whole process comfortable for all of us and to add up to the overall success of this program. So we duly apologize for starting behind schedule. Well, let me introduce our guests, but actually we have most of them are members of the organization. The first is our convener, Dr. Muiz Adeyemi Banire, SAN, and then OON. So presently he's out of the country, and we expect him to join online any moment from now. The moderator of this event is one of us, Malam Abdurrahman Lekki. You are welcome. Then to lead the discussion today is again one of us, Mr. Shola. Is your own Olushola, Adeshola, Fashola? Okay. Mr. Shola Fanawopo is the president of IDA as Ibajo Development Association. So he's here today to share, what they've been doing at that level and how other communities can, benefit from their efforts and other efforts. So to join him in that discussion is Mr. Michael Oluwagbemi. He will be joining online too. I don't know if he's there already. Has he joined? Mr. Oluwagbemi, wherever you are welcome. And of course, the third person is Dr. Binta Suleiman Gaya. is a senior lecturer at the University, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. So we'll be joining the discussion online too. Well, in the absence of our convener, who is the chairman of this event, I want to welcome you to this event. And this event is unique one way, that today we want to speak or deal directly with the people as the grassroots. All of us belongs to one community or the other. And of course, today in Nigeria, governments are both national and subnational levels. They tell us, and of course, the season of the electioneering is here. They always come to tell us what they want to do for us without asking us what our needs are. So at the end of the day, they will tell us what they think are good for us. So in another election cycle, the same thing, they will come again. And some communities, what is important to them is water. Then they will tell us, we are doing, particularly the representatives in the name of constituent project, Abi. They say, oh, solar power everywhere, but the people are looking for water to drink. So because of this, we thought that it is high time we bring the communities together. Let us reason together. Let us learn from each other. There are some communities, they will do Kiniko Day, every December, every year. But what do you see? They make aswebi, they kill cow, cook rice, invite musicians, and they've celebrated their day. Abi? So we want to kind of organize and prompt them to know that their development, lies in their own hands. Sometimes the final analysis is when the politician comes around again and say, oh, we want to do. I say, no, thank you, Oga, but this is our problem here. And whoever promised you and you were able to extract, commitment from, there's the person you give your vote. It's not about party A, party B, party blue, party yellow, party green. So at the level of USCA, we've made them several interventions. And this roundtable discussion is one of the platform created, to discuss thematic issues bordering on the nature and the character of things that has direct implication on the people. We've done on waste management, we've done on this fuel, whatever, we've done on education, we've done, in fact, here, we've examined the current electoral law. And besides that, we hold public lectures the same way, to galvanize. The last one we did was on drug abuse. And we know the menace of drug abuse, misuse among our young population in Nigeria today. Everywhere. But statistics shows that Lagos, Ibadan, exit the headquarters of drug misuse or abuse in Nigeria. So again, we do organize what we call community outreach. There we'll enter slums, we go with lawyers, medics, and our lawyers free consultation, not on criminal matters, but civil matters. and then the medical checkup and what have you. And sometimes we do fumigation of the environment as part of our program too. Then we do town hall meeting, where we bring all stakeholders together to examine issues and find solutions to them. We are set up primarily to add value to governance. And we believe that change, nothing is going to change in Nigeria until as individual we begin to change from our own end. So the change, once you change, the whole society will change. And we know that we cannot leave governance for the government people, but politicians. So those are some of our activities. And today, like I said, we're looking at community associations as pivot of development. So, and to do justice to that, the eminent erudite scholars I mentioned before. So without much ado, can I call on the lead discussants? No, can I just hand over to the moderator to carry on from this moment? Malam, Mr. Abdurrahman Neki. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. You just asked whether you could call the lead discussant, and I said, no, you can't, because you can't be usurping my role here. Yeah, good morning, everyone. UAC, Change Nigeria. I'm indeed very excited to be here. You see me all smiles. And sincerely, I'm all smiles because I'm excited at the possibilities that what is possible from this event. I don't know if you see what I'm seeing, but sincerely, if you see what I saw, you will be more excited than I. And because I was just going through, let me give you a sneak peek into one of the slides. I was just going through the slides of the lead discussant and saw how he qualified the community. He said the community is the fourth tier of government. Maybe you have not seen it that way. Community, our community development associations is the fourth tier of government. And he's going to share with us today his experience on how he has harnessed a community to build people, to build a space that you cannot imagine how far they have gone. Yeah, so like we said today, the theme for today's discussion is community associations as a pivot of development. Community associations as a pivot of development. And today, like we mentioned, 3 speakers. The lead speaker is Mr. La Fano Wokpo. Fano Wokpo. Okay, sorry. Mr. Shola is the co-founder and CEO of E-Imaginations. He has over 20 years experience in publishing, stakeholders management, and building clients' positive brand reputations on a consistent level. He's also the chairman of Cowries Microfinance Bank, a digital microfinance firm, as well as a director at Innovectives. He's a man of many caps, so a Pan-African fintech firm. He's a community organizer of high repute. He builds and manages fintech 1,000 plus group, the most engaging and largest fintech community in Africa. The members of the group comprise of central bankers, stock exchanges, telcos, insurance, and bankers, as well as fintech firms and the media. He is the secretary of the BOT and steering committee of Kiriji Memorial College Revival. Shola has mentored many younger generation of entrepreneurs who are now managing thriving businesses in infotech, journalism, and public relations. Shola is always proud to say he's a graduate of the famous Kiriji Memorial College, I guess. And maybe today we'll tell us a little about the Kiriji War. I've not learned so much about that. And one thing of interest as well is Shola is the current president of Igbajo Development Association. Please, if you are excited like me, please put your hands together for Mr. Shola. So, Mr. Shola, I have the rare honor, without much ado, and the singular privilege to invite you to this much awaited presentation. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together. So can we have the slides?
Good morning, my fathers and my brothers and my mothers. Good morning. Yeah, you are welcome to this roundtable discussion of our great organization, United Action for Change. Let me first acknowledge the work of our convener, Dr. Muiz Banere. And one thing I love about him is his energy. I call it positive energy. And if you are a member of this organization, you don't have positive energy, I doubt whether you can cope and relate with Dr. Banere. Am I lying? Yeah. It's positive energy. I have not met an individual that are as positive as Dr. Muiz Banere. Please kindly give him a round of applause for the great job he's doing and for his belief in Nigeria. If all of us can have the kind of belief he has in Nigeria, I believe Nigeria will become a better place today. So I equally want to thank the management team of United Action for Change. They've been doing a tremendous job in bringing us together regularly to discuss issues about our country. And those discussions are making positive impacts on the life of our people and the life of our country. Please, can you give them another round of applause? You know the reason why we cannot thank them enough. This job they are doing, they know they collect money. In fact, they know they collect thank you, self. So for me, it's a commitment. And I will continue to appreciate them so that they can continue to give more to Nigerian and the community. I don't know where the reward will come from, but I know along the line, somebody will enjoy the reward. It might not be them, it might be their children in the future, but I know that somebody will enjoy the reward. So thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to talk about community development, a subject that is very, very dear to my mind. I work on community development at least, actively at least 6 hours of my life every day. Imagine if you give 6 active hours every day for community development. The people in my community ask me whether I even do anything else apart from the community development. I see community development, when people are involved in community development, I call it the highest level of citizenship. The highest level of what? Citizenship. Because number one, there's no reward. There's no reward for community involvement. Absolutely no reward. You get nothing. The only thing you get because of the cynical nature of our life, of our development, that people don't even believe in what you are doing until they begin to see results. Ẹnu aláṣeyọrí, ó ní ọ̀rọ̀ tí máa ń dùn. Before you can get results in community development, you must be really determined. Or like Kano we call it, you must be really determined to get a good result in community development. So I will plead with us to listen very well this morning so that at the end of the day, we can take at least, we won't say, I've come to this event, I did not take anything away. We are all adults. There must be a reason that we come to this place today. So the subject, the theme is community associations as pivots of development. UAC Roundtable discussion, February 4. Next slide. Yeah, my content, what community development is, what community association is, the fundamental for success for community development, then funding the vision. You know, one of the most important things is that money is the bicycle for evangelism. Without money, all our trinchy will just be what? A waste. So, next slide. Our attempt to define what community development is. Community development is a process where members are supported by agencies to identify and take collective action on issues which are very dear to them. It also empowers community members, create stronger and connected members. As we are today in this place, we can decide to start a community that believes in the development of what? Of Nigeria. They will become a community. It could be people that are binded by the same ancestral, by the same language, and they live in a geographical area. But the most important thing is that they must have identified some problems that they want to collectively do what? Address. One most important thing about community development, it does not allow for individualism. It does not allow for what? You must come together. You must do what? You must come together. If you are individualistic, you are not likely to thrive in the community development association. You are not likely to do what? To thrive in the community. So we have all come together and address our problems. That's what we call community development. In Lagos today, we all live in a community and they have CDAs. Let me tell you today, I've been a vice president of a CDA in Lagos. The reason why we have some level of security in Lagos is because of the work of the Development Association, CDA. CDA employs all those nights or day. When we recruit those order, we take them to the police. Police will do background check, Abi, on them. We buy firearms for them. Within the community, there is a man in the community where we keep the firearms called Amora. Only the vice president and the president is aware where we keep that Amora. I can tell you today, conveniently, because I've been involved. The reason why we have peace in Lagos today is because of the Community Development Association. They're doing a wonderful job. if only in the area of security. If there's no security in an environment, then the president and vice president must have compromised. Go and write it down. They've done a lot of background check on those guys because they've been involved. So that's a community for you. That's a community association for you. But when you move interland, because all of us belong to a community, the name of my own community is a Badger. It becomes a little bit more complex. Because in a community where we came from, there are several issues to be addressed. Because number one, government is very far away from the community. You know the reason why? There's no local government again. Our local government have become center of what? It's no longer a center of development. They have become center of empowerment for the boys. So as a result, most of our community have no presence of governance. So that makes it very imperative for every community to organize a community development association to now take over the role of what? Government. The role of what? Government. That is why community development association has become very, very important in addressing, identifying issues. Some of the issues are just regular issues. For instance, security. Let me give you a very good example of security. In any community today, a large community, about 20,000 people, you are not likely to find more than 10 policemen, if they are lucky. If they are lucky, they will have a police post, no vehicle. In fact, in most cases, no gun. So what the community will need to do, and those policemen, they don't work in the night. So the community must organize themselves and have a vigilante group that handle security end to end. That I know very much. In my community today, my community association organize and pay for all those things. Government is not involved. And you know, security is the most important thing in any environment. School is there. I give a good example of my own community. We have 11 primary schools in my community. None of them has more than 3 teachers. And I'm talking of Osun State. And I'm talking of a community that has more than 150 professors. So I'm not talking of a community that does not understand the importance of education. So what do you do? The community association has to employ 20 teachers and distribute them among primary school, subsidizing the failure of government. So each community has their challenges, but the community association must be organized such a way you can identify your problems. Abi, and you begin to do what? Address your problem. That's what they call community development. Next slide. So what community association is? The community association is a non-governmental association of participating members of the community. It can be neighborhood, village. I've said it. Participation may be voluntary, but requires a specific residency in an international community through social clubs, community provincial group, service organization, youth sport, community. I've mentioned that very well. That's what community association is. Community association is very, very important because it draws everybody. Like I told you, individualism is not allowed. The example of my own community is that the way we organized, there's hardly any adult in my community that does not belong to a club or a society. So in my community, we have about 42 societies. The oldest among them is 81-year-old, by the Development League. So you have to belong to a club or a society. Because you cannot, individually, you are not a member of a Igbajo Development Association. It is your society that are member. When we do our meeting, you represent your society. You can't join us as an individual. So different ways and manner a community is organized. But individualism is as much as possible discouraged so that we can work together as one and address our use as one. Next. So there are fundamentals for the success of a community association. And that is where I would like you to listen very well. There are fundamentals that we need to understand before a community association can be very, very successful. And I can address those issues they have identified as a major problem, major wahala for their development. Next. Number one, CDA as the fourth tier of government. The first concept is that today, a CDA must be conceptualized as the fourth tier of government so that the community can establish a structure that will address its challenges. According to the Nigerian Constitution, there are 3 tiers of government: the federal, state government, and the local government. Please, the most important thing is our mindset in all this. Once you have a mindset that our development association is the fourth tier of government, Abi, every other structure, we do what? We just plug behind. Development associations are just a mere social club. I beg you will not be able to address your issues. Immediately that mindset clicks in that we are the fourth tier of government, which is a community government. So you begin to see your as a mayor. In my community, they call me a mayor. They call me the first person in the community. My wife is the first woman in the community, even though we have an Oba. The Oba is for traditional issues. The community development association is for what? Developmental issues. Immediately you adopt that mindset, everything will do what? We seek him. The kind of constitution you write for yourself, we begin to address your issues. You begin to address education. You begin to address the issue of drugs. You begin to address the issue of youth development, sport development, and other stuff. So because we had that mindset in my community, today, we have Igbajo Sports Commission. When we started our sport commission, I got a call from the government. Say, how can we start a sport commission? I said, you need to go to court. Abi, we have started it. You will need to go to court to stop us. Abi? So let's go to court and determine it. Later, the same Osun State Sport Commission, they started relating with us. Anytime we need coaches, they give us coaches. Anytime we need assistants, they give us assistants. Because they discover that it has come to do what? It has come to stay. Because we are mimicking government structure. Abi? We have a rural community development, settlement and development commission in my community. I will still show you. We have 10 rural communities. very big. And they don't have light, they don't have water, they don't have anything. So we need a commission to address that, to begin to look for how we can begin to address their problem. Take it a position and address them. So when we call it a commission, everything changes. Because we had the mindset of a government, a fourth year of government, our structure begin to do what? Mimic how God is set up. That is what you get when your mindset is you see yourself at the fourth tier of government. You begin to address the issue of budget. You begin to address where you get money. You begin to pull in a lot of people. You begin to use committees to drive your projects. As of today, we have 21 committees in Igbajo. We have security committee. We have water committee. We have education committee. We have Igbajo economic group. And that is the only way you can bring elite to get involved and get committed. Because if they agree on a project, they want to see it through. They want to contribute money. They want to raise money to see it through. But what really happened is that, what really helped us is that from day one, our mindset is that we are running a government for the community. So Igbajo Development Organization is a government of Igbajo by the Igbajo people and for the Igbajo the people. So that is how I love you to see your community development association. Immediately you have that mindset, government will not come to your community to do anything without asking, what do you need? Abi? People, please find a club for us. I say, why? Say, we are left out. Because it's a thing of pride in my community for you to say, I equally contribute to that project. Even if it is 10 kobo. It's obligatory. If you don't do it, you know one thing about community is that might not be fast, Abi, but they will develop. In my community today, we have 6 private secondary schools. Then you ask yourself, some individual are behind those schools. Abi? Whether you like it or not, that is what? Development. So you begin to ask yourself, you look man develop, and I'm not involved. Say, President, why am I not involved? I said, do you belong to a club? No, I'll go and do that. So the way you organize your community is the most important aspect of community development association. That will determine how far you can go. That will determine the kind of projects you can execute. You need a lot of skill. You require sound analytical and political and interaction skills to organize a community. I'll give you a very good example. There was a very big problem in my community about electricity, like it is in every community. Abi? So they wanted me to take a decision. And I told them, I want to see all the professionals, analyze everything for me. Abi? Everything must be scientific. So over time now, they know, don't go to the president too, because you need to analyze it very well. Just because of the skill. They know that there's a pattern of decision making. Abi? That does not support mediocrity. So even before they will discuss it, they will think twice. You. Then we ask questions. You better don't go. We have developed a pattern of addressing issues. Abi? We ask questions. Say, bring professionals. Okay, let's look at the pros and cons. And most importantly, I'll always tell them, let's look at the threats. If the threat is bigger than the benefit, we do what? We reconsider it. So you need the skill. The skill is very, very important. Like, I'm not happy that is not here today. The Alaafin of Oyo, he organizes the community in 3 different ways with 3 different kinds of people. Number 1, the people we call Ojogbon, the elite of the community. Those are the core people that drive the development in the community. The second group are the people we call the cheerleaders, that we call Alagbees. The third people are the people we call Only. Every community has thieves, whether you like it or not. So cleverly, Alaafin will do what? Must find a mix. In any community where you allow the cheerleaders to do the work of elite, you are not likely to have development. All they will do is that they will just be praising, Lekki new. Nobody will look at issues. Once Lekki talk, they'll just be praising Lekki. Party, where you're supposed to do whatever, now party them what they do. Because that is the work they will come to this world to do. So when you are organizing a community, you must take cognizance of that. You don't put cheerleaders where you require skills, analytical skills, before you arrive at decisions. So that's why I put it. Community organizing is a fundamental for the success of a community association. Once you don't have that, you are likely to struggle. Imoni, Oladini, Ogbe. In some communities, they will still tell you that if they have a child today and there is rain, that child will make it. They do it now. I relate with community, I know. You need to sit down with them and analyze it very well. You need the skill, you need the patience. Once you don't have that, forget it. you are not likely to get very good results. Next. Okay. Constitution. Constitution. There must be a law that guides how you do stuff in a community. A community association must have a constitution. It is very, very important. It is very, very what? Very, very important. You can get a bad leader at times, but at the end of the day, the constitution will temper everything, will tame him for that period. You only spend 2 or 3 years. So it's very, very important when you do that. Very, very important. So to garner members' contribution in community development, there must be framework on procedures for running the community. There must be a framework. The leadership for the steering development and procedure for members' enlistments. How do you bring members? Must they join a club before they join legal umbrella? The process must be there. It must be there. It must be written, and everybody must memorize it and agree with it. That is how leaders evolve. In my community, if you are not a member of a club, you can't become an official of IDA. It's impossible. A club must actually sponsor you for election. You can't just come from anywhere and say, I want to run. It's in the Constitution. A community association needs a constitution that aggregates the fundamental principle or established precedent. This document constitutes the legal basis of the entity and they commonly determine how that entity is administered. How do you administer your community association? It must be in your constitution, black, white. If you don't have that, you are likely to struggle. Because somebody will come tomorrow and begin to behave like an emperor. Abi? How do you remove him? How do you tame him? So you need constitution. Next. So this is an example of, like I told you, we have about 40 associations. This is IDA in the middle. These are all the clubs. We have about 30 of them, different logo. So if you don't belong to this, you are not likely to belong to the IDA. That's the structure we have adopted in my community over a long period of more than 70 years. We've been running a community like this. Excuse me. Next. Community organizing. Like in my community, the 5 ways to get involved in community development in Igbajo land. Number 1, involved in Omole compound activities. In Igbajo land, we have 3 identities. You must belong to a compound. Ile Osunji, Ile Balogun. Very fundamental. Ile Oluode. Then number 2, you must belong to Ogbon. Ogbon is like a ward. We have 5 wards. Then they say, okay, then you can now say I'm an Igbajo person. If you don't have those 3 attributes, you are not an Igbajo person. They will ask you, which command do you come from? Say, okay, then which Ogbon? Abi, are you involved in Ogbon activities? If you are not involved, you are not a bona fide member of that Ogbon. Ogbon has their contribution for security annually. Contribute. Family compound. You want to improve your family compound all the time. The family meets between 25 and 26 December every year. You have to attend meeting, you have to contribute. Those are the places, that is the place. Issue of chieftain title, Christ, life matters are settled every year. If you are not there, you won't get anything. That's number 1. Number 2, involvement in urban activities, I've mentioned it. Member of social clubs, member of all student groups. The Kiriji Memorial College is our most important secondary school. Started in 1952. Started by the community. Community built it from end to end. So majority of the people who are involved in Ibadan are members of that school. So you must belong to the old school students. That's a way of participating in the development of the community. Then finally, if you're an individual, you don't want to belong to all those ones, you can adopt the programs of IDA and put money in it and sponsor it. Like we have a poly, the first community polytechnic in Africa, called Ibadan Polytechnic. Family builds lecture theater and name it after their parents. As a matter of fact, if your parents is not there, you feel left out. So those are the way we get involved in community development. Next. So vision of the community. Another very important fundamental is what I call the vision of the community. You know, a community can live through generations without dreaming big or planning for the future. And that's what happened everywhere. Generation by generation, the community will just be doing what? Will just be there. No plan. As a matter of fact, as a country, as in Nigeria, we don't plan big for anything. We are not ambitious. We are not. Everything we just do by accident. A community must have a vision. Why community vision project is very important? To ensure future that you are pursuing aligned with what the government will support through its various activities. Government is a blank in Nigeria. They don't have any plan for anything. But if your community is very organized, when politicians come to your community, they will only do what you want. Abi? Because they know this is what this community wants. If you do anything outside that, you're just wasting your time. In Ibadan today, they know what we want. Nobody play any game with us. Nobody tie any road in Ibadan without my consent. Please don't go there. We don't want that one. We want this one. We know what we need. Nobody can come from Osogbo and say this is what you need. We know what we need. Because we have a vision. It gives community a voice to engage the locals from all walks of life. Once you have a vision, you must engage everybody. You must engage carpenter. Everybody is involved. Because they all belong to association that belong to the Ibadan Development Association. They discuss it. They would tell you that this is what we want. Because we have a vision. Number 3, bringing people together to share ideas and imagine a new future. When you are doing a vision, it's like dreaming. How do you want Ibadan to be in the next 50 years? It's good to dream. If you don't dream, you can't achieve anything. Dream is very important. That's why visioning is very, very important for every community, even for every family. You need to dream dreams. So a community must be dreaming. It's a living thing. It must be breathing, it must be dreaming. So if you are not doing that, that's a very fundamental for success. Next, we just commenced what I call the Ibadan Vision 2020. We set up a committee. Chief Awomolo, SAN, is the chairman of the committee, the Asiwaju of Ibadan land. What is the focus? The step they want to take. Where are we now? An inventory of current assets, opportunities, and challenges. That is very, very important in visioning. Abi, you must know where you are now. Number 2, where are we going? The future scenarios based on current assets, opportunities, and challenges. Where do we want to be? Preferred future based on shared values and what? And aspirations. Then, how do we get there? Decision and action required to make the vision possible with clear indicators and measurements. What are we going to do in the next 5 years? I mean, in the next 2 years, what do we want to do? We have a tree planting scheme in my community. Our plan is to plant 1 million trees in 20 years. So there must be an indication every year how far we have gone. Because our position is that we want to be the largest plank market in the whole of Osun State in the next 20 years. We want to dominate that business, and we want to raise 100 millionaires in our community because of that. And when we raise 100 millionaires, you can imagine people we hit from them. That's our focus. So we're working towards that because we have a vision. We are dreaming. We might surpass it. We might not. But a dream is a dream. Do you have a dream in your community? That's very fundamental. Number one, then, are we making progress? Okay, where are the resources? Those decisions are the vision. Who will fund those visions? It is when you write that vision that you discover that it's difficult to look for money. It's now that you'll be sweating. Those who have penciled down, they will disappoint you. As usual. How do we get the money? Please, that is an area UAC can be involved. I will let you know. How do we get the money? Funding the vision is very, very important. In fact, it's the most critical. When you have all the fantastic vision, the next thing is that funding the vision. How do you fund the vision? Money is the bicycle for what? Next, C, funding the vision. Next, community philanthropy. Community philanthropy is the process of gaining support of community members, leveraging resources and determining the use of external relations to address challenges or improve the quality of life. That is very, very important. Philanthropism is the most important aspect of community development. If you don't have enough philanthropists in your community, don't even start. Don't do what? Don't start. Don't do what? Don't start. Because when you start, you will fail. In my community, during the outbreak of COVID, under 3 weeks, we raised 20 million naira to take care of our poor people in the community. Vulnerable. We bought food for them. We take care of them. We didn't wait for government. That is philanthropism. Isn't it? It's very important. Another level is charity. In my community, charity is an obligation. It's what? It's obligatory for you to help people in the community. And don't shall in my community, the most important individual in my community. The person with the big houses and car is not important in my community. We measure you by what? By your charity. We celebrate you because you do what? Because we always have your shoulder when we are in trouble. It's obligatory. We live it. So that is very fundamental in every community. I studied the life of Jews. That's what they do. They live on charity. They earn social accolade because of their social work within the community. That is very, very fundamental. We must inculcate the habit of what? Charity in our people. The culture of givings must be an obligation. It's not that whether I like it. It's a sacrifice you must do. I know the people in my community that give and give and give and give and give and give and give. They are never tired of giving. They are never tired of what? Of giving. They see it as what? An obligation. If you have not gone to that level in your community, you can go far. I can bet you. Next. Support community by patronizing community business. Let me tell you, That's the most fundamental. In my community, if you are running a party, a social party, we don't buy stuff from Lagos. We carry our money and go back to the community and buy all the beer, everything we need within the community. You know why? The millionaire in the community, they contribute more to charity in the community than people from outside. I can call them, Baba Olomi, we don't have water in the community hospital. Please, can you help me drop 3 gallons of water? Say, yes, sir. You go and drop it. Because we support that business to grow. Sir, we want to use your event center, but you collect 300,000, we'll give you 100,000. Because we support the community, that business to grow. So those people always support community development. We must patronize community businesses to grow. It's very fundamental. Very, very fundamental. If elite does not do that, the community will not grow. Community will not do what? Not grow. Absolutely. Then support from NGOs. That is where I'm going to appeal to UAC, of which I'm a member. The role of UAC at this regard. Today, I can tell you that most development organizations do not have the skill. They require skill to attract the support from developmental agencies. You know why? We don't have the skill. We have the challenges that is required for us to apply for such support. But the process is very difficult. We don't have the skill to do that. We don't have the temperament. We don't have the know-how. So my advice, my recommendation for UAC as a group, aggregate that skill. UAC should become the pivot for the attraction of those support from developmental bodies for community associations. Because you have the skill, you have the recruiter skill, you have the name. Once you do that, I can assure you there are several millions of dollars that we cannot access today because we don't have a very good process in place. That is what an organization like United Action for Change can do. By the time they do that, they will call it help the community in better organization. We say, okay, before a community can access this, we must do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Abi? Everybody will begin to look forward for it. I can imagine if I have just $3 million to address issues in my community today. I can imagine, which is a possibility based on what we have done, based on what we've been able to achieve on our own alone. We will get that. But we cannot do that today because we don't have the skill. We don't understand how to get those supports, which is very, very important. That, to me, is one of the most fundamental ways of addressing community issues, because there are NGOs in education, in water development, in sanitations, in everything, in women development, in empowerment. Abi, they are there begging for you to come and submit proposal. Ranges from $5,000, $200,000, 5 million naira, 20 million naira dollars that we can access. And that is where our organization can come in and become the major backbone to aggregate all those things together and help the community to do what? To address it, which is very, very critical. Next. So this is one of our little achievements. Today, these are achievements, Ibadan Polytechnic. We started Ibadan Polytechnic 2005 is our biggest as development association. You know, in Nigeria, a school is either owned by government, an individual. This one is owned by a community. A what? Community. Ibadan Polytechnic is African first, owned, organized, managed by a community. Funded 100% by what? The community. Won't you clap for us? That's our biggest achievement. That's our biggest achievement. And that institution alone brings more than 500 million naira annually to my community. When you look at what the students will pay for accommodation, the thing they will eat, the budget of the institution alone is 200 million naira every year. So that is a 500 million. It's bigger than what the local government in my community brings to the community. That's our biggest achievement. And all that thing we achieve with philanthropism, no external funding. That is why I'll be very glad if a UAC can help me access those donors that will support this group. I'll be fine. All we have achieved today is because of that charity and philanthropism. It to me is limited. I want to grow faster. But I can't do that today because I rely on internal support. I want external support. Government will never support you. They don't even support their own institution. Don't talk less to a community institution. So UAC, please, I want to be part of the process and do it. Another one is Ibadan tree. If you know Ibadan very well, our job is plumbing job, lumbering job, sawmill. All the sawmill, Sopako in Ibadan, àwọn bàbá wa ló ní everywhere, Sango, Sopako Ìgbàjọ ni. So here we started Ìgbàjọ Plan Business 2.0. We dreamt, say, okay, in the next 15 years, we want to grow another economy as big as Ìgbàjọ Poly. And I said, okay, which business do we grow? The plant business. If you want to grow the plant business, you must do what? You must plant trees. So we started planting trees. Ìgbàjọ is very big. We have 24 kilometers by 24 kilometer radius. We are very huge. We have land. So the next thing is that let's take the decision. Started planting trees. Started last year. The first season we planted 18,500 trees. We signed an agreement with federal government to help us this year. Our target is to do 150,000 this year. Nothing. They don't do anything. They are just there. So when I go to them, I say, hey, I want you to come. They are ready. I got the best. The table tennis trainee is an Olympian. He has gone to 3 Olympics. He's happy training the girls and the boys. So another thing is that now we have the Ibadan Village Development Commission. Like I told you, we have several villages, no development, no water. They are still drinking water from the stream, nothing. These are very big villages. 10 of them, we group them together, start addressing their problem. But we need a commission to address it. So we're doing that gradually. Then we just started at Ibadan United Football Club. Ibadan United Football Club, we play the Nationwide League this year. We play FA. But our biggest challenge, like I said, is resources. We need more resources to do that. All those things we have done is within the community, raise the money within the community. We need more to do that. The reason why I have raised all these things is that if we adopt those fundamentals, these are the likely results we are going to get. The fundamentals are very, very important. Once we adopt those fundamentals, we are likely to get our results. Next. So, if you want to help our community, we have this Ibadan Town Development Fund, ITDF. We use crowdfunding platform to raise the money. So we collect the money on every day. I share it with my friends to support. Some gave me 5,000 naira. Some even gave as low as 2,000 naira. I'm happy. I'm happy because I have 20 teachers to pay every month. And I have to look for money to pay them. And one major challenge we have is that our people don't like to get involved in projects their name. It's not physical, that you don't put their name. And your education is one of the whatever that you don't put anybody's name. And they are the most fundamental to me in any community. So you struggle to pay those teachers at the end of the month because everybody want to see his name like village headmaster and cut tips. Happens in my own community too. So if UAC can help us to address those challenges, we'll be flying. And your community too will fly. It's as simple as ABC. These are not rocket science. These are the things we are doing in my own community. I'm not theorizing. I'm telling you what we are doing in our community. And I believe if you follow the same path, we are likely to get the same success at the end of the day. And if you ask anyone in my community today, all of us want to be identified with our polytechnic. Because you know the beauty, it is not owned by an individual. It is owned by all of us. All of us. The last accreditation we did 10 courses at a go. The regulator, 49 people came with accreditation for about a week. You know, the way they do accreditation in Nigeria, you don't have enough material. Even universities, they will go and get people from other universities to support them. You know the way they do it. All the people we got to support us are professors and PhD holders from other universities who have Ibadan indigenous. We didn't pay for their hotel. They sleep in their family houses. Because of what? It's a community project. They're happy to get involved. At the end of the day, the delay of education said, ordinarily, we used to believe that if it does not own by an individual or government, it's not likely to work. But your people have shown us that it is not only possible, in fact, it is fundamental. That is the essence of community development. Number one, why it is different from government. We all identify with it. It's our community. As a matter of fact, your community is your community. You don't determine your community. Your community determines you. Abi? You can't claim your community is no longer your community. Or else your community has communicated you, which is possible. Number two, you always have passion for your community. You are not likely to have passion for your state. It's diluted. For me, I will continue to say it. The highest level of citizenship that you can attain is community participation. You know why? The only thing you gain from it is happiness. It's not money. And finally, I have looked at what we call happiness. Is the only time you are happy as a man is when you give. When you give, no, you know the prayer will derive from giving. When you give, that's when a man is happy. Happiness does not come from drinking beer. It does not come from making love. Having children can become a headache. In fact, it's a challenge having children these days. The cost is just abysmally high. The best thing a man can do is to give. When you give to a community, the benefit is what? It's bigger, because you know a lot of people will benefit from it. Today, I welcome you to the bliss of community development. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. You may have your seat. Sincerely, I'm excited. And you know, when I told you at the beginning of the presentation that if you see what I saw, you'll be more excited than I am. And I can tell you for free that I have just given you a bit of it. There is so much. Meaning that after today, we are going to be having a lot more practical workshops. You know, today is just a lecture. What we'll be having going forward is workshops and holding. And through this initiative, we shall together pre-qualify and select 10 community development associations for mentoring, just 10 across Nigeria for this first, what we call the pilot phase. Maybe after the pilot phase, we can now see how to, organize it across all communities. But for this pilot phase, where we want to really, scale this concept and this project, developing 10. We'll soon come up with the pre-qualification criteria, how your community can be pre-qualified and be a part of it. And that is what we'll do going forward. I can tell you for free, UAC is committed to this. The convener and all of the board of UAC, they are committed to making this happen. Because I can tell you, if every community is able to organize their community like this, well, we get the best for our communities and we'll all be happy for it. Now, there are a few things like you mentioned. Yes, of course, there are some links to government projects, for instance, that those projects are there. Maybe because of time, I was not able to mention a few of them. Those projects are always there, but government just launches the project, pumps money, and just abandons them. A lot of those projects, if you have an organized community, and with a little fund, a few connections here and there, you can bring the whole of it back to your community. But there was a particular one he told me about, that the government budgeted all the, what do you call the governors forum? They met with the presidency and agreed on very big and lofty projects. that they wanted to plant 1 million trees per state. And you know what? They all contributed money from the project. They appointed a federal government mention. Maybe if you want me to mention them, or maybe I will not mention for now. One federal government agency to syndicate that project. And that agency did what it was supposed to do. The agency now made seedlings. What is it, seedlings they call it? Seedlings of trees, or the different species of trees. For the different, no different state will have these trees that are resilient in their states. And they develop the different species of trees for each state. And they put them in nursery to grow them for all the states to come and pick their trees. After the agency built the nursery and planted all the trees, and which have been fully paid for, the states refused to come and pick their trees. Only the trees were overgrown. Now, because he has an organized community, he got wind of that project. Just, when you begin to scan, when this is what you are looking for, everything around you seems to be that thing. Yeah, because he's looking for what we had developed in his community, he stumbled on the project. And now said, what did he now do? He now went to the agency. He got to know that the head of the agency is also a brother that he will relate with. Egbon, I heard there's a project here about this. How can we benefit from it? He said, okay, no problem. Maybe you go and find out from your state. Your state is the only person that can, the only people that can come and collect. He went to his state. Okay, we learned of so. Yes, it's true. There's a project like that. But look, there's no budget to go and transport the trees to our state. Oh. Can you go and arrange to transport it? He said, yes, I can arrange. Okay, bring your paper. Let me sign for you. Go and collect 15,000. And he just went there to collect 15,000 for his own community. Because he has a community. The community is organized. They already have a vision. He said he has wanted to plant 1 million trees in the next 20 years. So he already has a vision. So he knows what to go and look for in government. Most communities are not developed today because they are not organized enough. They don't have a vision of what they want from government. So they don't know how to engage government. So the government just brings anything to them. Just like in community where I live in Ikorodu. Just said our honorable came to sink borehole in a place where nobody needs borehole. Only one woman uses that borehole, the woman that sells food in front, a big gigantic borehole. The woman that sells food in front of the borehole is the only person that uses that borehole because we don't need it. But because the community is not organized enough, who dare go and sink one useless borehole in Igbajo community? Because they are organized. And we all have one community or the other, either the community of association or community of origin. Are we together? So this is a project, like we said, we must all commit to. For this presentation, we have about 3 speakers. Fortunately or unfortunately, 2 of them are out of station. One we have not been able to, establish communication with again in the last 12 hours. But the other speaker is also online, but is traveling between Ekiti and Abuja. And he told me in about 15 minutes he will go in Communicado but very soon he will get back online. The engineer, can you help me confirm if Michael Oluwagbemi is online or TMZ? Okay, so we'll hold forth and wait for him to join us. We'll continue. Yeah, we'll continue the conversation. There are a lot of things I've picked. He's back online now. Oh, excellent. Okay, let's put him online. Let him speak. Michael, are you with us? Hello, Michael. Okay, I can wait. Okay, I'll wait. Okay, yeah. So I picked a few things from the presentation. I don't know if you also did. One of the first things he first mentioned, and maybe I didn't take that cursory look, said the semblance of security that we have in Lagos State currently is because we have a CDA. And I look back truly, this morning when we were having the conversation before, I said, Lagos State has worked so much on CDAs. CDA in Lagos is about the most organized. We have CDAs, we have CDCs, we have landlord associations. So you must belong to a landlord association before you can belong to a CDA. You must belong to a CDA before you can now join a CDC. In fact, those days, only active CDC members become councillors. Those days. And it is just because we are no longer very active there. That is why, because, and again, there's a bit of politicization of the CDAs and CDCs. But of course, if we are all very active, we can win. We can win it such that we are not, yes, we will be political, but not politicized. The CDC or CDA cannot but be political. You won't really deceive yourselves if you say you are not political. But you won't allow yourself to be politicized. Because, for instance, the relationship is established with the chairman of the local government. They are established with some of those commissioners. That is established is politicking. Are we together? Because a lot of the government is still the biggest funder, whether you like it or not. So if you engage the government well, you might be able to get so much to help your community. You also be able to channel the resources from the government to the optimal use of your community. So you need to continue to partner with government.
Yes,
are we together? But what we are saying is don't allow the active partisan politicking to affect the community development association, because like we have rightly seen, that is the future. That sounds like the answer to our problems. And like you mentioned, that the government is so far away from you, the only way you can really organize like yourself. We have rightly seen.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. If you can speak now, you have the floor.
Thank
you. Mr.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
20 minutes. Or you can speak now. Okay, let's try. If you can't, we'll still wait for you.
Okay, let me if you can hear me, I can go. I'll stop my video if you can hear me. Just wanted to show my. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me, but I don't seem to be hearing you. All right, so if you can hear me, I can go ahead, but it'd be nice to get once in a while an audio feedback. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to join you guys, your community, at this August occasion. My name is Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi. I'm a citizen of Odo-Oro Ekiti, an agrarian and industrial town, one of the farthest to the north of what is called Southwest Nigeria, and boundaries of Ekiti and Kwara and Kogi State. Odo-Oro Ekiti is a community of over 30,000 residents and citizens, and one of the communities in Ikole Ekiti local government, Ikole being one of the larger local government areas of Ekiti State, as you all know. And Odo-Oro is one of the 23 communities, 24 communities to be accurate, that is within Ikole local government area, which is known as the Igbioba Kingdom. Oduoro is a town, is rich in history. But by itself, Oduoro is also a community of communities. What do I mean? Oduoro is made up of over 16 clans and communities that trace their origin to the various places, some to Ile-Ife, others to the north of the Niger, that is not very far away from us, north of Lokoja, just about 2 hours away from Oduoro. Today, actually between, I'm leaving, I left Oduoro this morning, I'm heading to my location in Abuja. I give you this background so you can understand not just who I am, but also that we are all from somewhere. We are all citizens of one community or the other. And the essence of our work, of our life's work, is how much do we impact this community that we all trace our lineage, our heritage, our ancestry to. And it is for this reason that we are all gathered here today. How do we allow our life's work to impact our various communities? Changes in economies and global trends. How do we bring our communities to the current development and away from underdevelopment and still work. And I want to speak to that because it is very difficult to have community development. And I heard a lot about what the previous speaker had talked about. And it is very, very difficult to have community action or community development if you do not have some degree of history of doing it. Communities that have had leaders in the past who have stood up and have engaged in community development find it much easier to do so. And I think this is why we are so fortunate. I'm so fortunate to be part of one of such communities in Oduoro Ekiti. Like I said, Oduoro Ekiti is a community of communities. And in the early 1900s, that community was fortunate also to be adopted into a larger community called the Igbioba Kingdom, which we all know as Ikole Ekiti, where the Elekole of Ikole land is the paramount ruler. The requirement was during the 1800s, during the Yoruba Civil War, the Kiriji Wars, there were a lot of far-flung communities, both on the what we now know as the Ekiti, Ondo State and Osun State axis, as well as those in the Kwara, Kogi axis that were affected by the Civil War. A lot of inter-ethnic tribes and tribal tribes that actually fed the slave trade. Also migrating, moving, people like
Please, we are.
My own community.
You think it's fine? You think it's fine now? Okay, go ahead. Okay, Michael.
What will
continue this conversation and probably allow you to talk for about 10 minutes. Then I'm sure you most likely have gotten closer to a community where your network will be much more stable. You can still afford that. You can still afford about 10 more minutes for you, or 15 or thereabout. So once you are in a community where you're sure your signal is very fine, please just send us a DM. The technical crew will be looking out for your DM on the Zoom platform so we can continue the conversation. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so at this point, we would allow comments, questions, contributions. We'll not allow abuses today because we know, but normally I always allow people to abuse me during these sessions, but for today, no abuses. We only want you to comment for this. And for this session, we'll be giving numbers. Once we exhaust that number, do you want to punish anybody? I don't know why you are putting your hands up. Okay, he wants to be the first speaker. Okay, oh, yes, we have, okay, the chief whip number 1. The man in yellow tie, if you watch him, yes, you are number 2. The man in blue, number 3. Okay, doctor number 4. Taiwo number 5. Oh, number 6, right? Okay, and number 7. Number 8. Okay, good, we have 8 numbers. So let's have them quickly. You have just 1 minute. And if you need to spend extra than 1 minute, come and tell me now so I can give you the extra. But what you have is 1 minute. Yours is not granted.
USC, I'm very happy we're treating this kind of topic. I have advantage. After the main presenter, I think I'm the next person that understand what is talking. Because Igbajo is like second home to me. High school, briefly, in the Kiriji Grammar School, Memorial College, and even the man, DHL, the DHL man who built us opposite school, happened to be a family friend. Yes. Ile Oluode is my adopted family in Igbajo. I live with them, even in Ibadan. So when I visited that community about 7 years ago, and I saw the Polytechnic. I was forced to move around the whole Polytechnic. They were using private homes. If you have a space, you give them. The students live even on pro bono, just for them to bring the resources from everywhere to Igbajo. And now when you see Igbajo, even the people who are not visiting Igbajo before, all of them are building houses, not far from Kiriji Memorial now. You know, that close, that go up. So the place is developing because everybody wants to come home. In as much as you can come home and see business, how the business thrive is when you have people in your community. We are talking about thousands. And you know, students, when you admitted about 500 students, some of their friends who are not admitted in other school will come and stay with them. Then you have the crowd in that small place. Now the city, it has become a city now because it's developing. Students are coming with their resources, with their car, with their family, with their experience. And when you have diverse experience, the community develop. Not only the indigenous people. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm also a former treasurer for community here in Lagos State. I'm happy one of our former ESCO is also here in this hall. We'll call it Ifedawakpo community. That consists of Thomas Alako, Joseph Odunlami, Ogba. We fall under the Fakojai local government. By the time I was the treasurer, I was involved in so many things, especially the security you mentioned. I'm the one that will go from one house to the other to collect security levy. Whenever any car mix in the community, my secretary is up for take. Police will come and pick him up. These are sad, but people still do it. It involves a lot of things. I'm the one that will go to police station and say, come on, he is not a suspect. The night watcher you arrested that they are suspect, they've closed by 5:30. And those who want to pick up will come around 6. The car you see by 6 when you are going to mosque, when you are coming back 6:30, the car is no more there. So I will be shuttling between the community and police station.
So I don't want him to whip me. That's why. Okay, number 2. So you can have the microphone, help him with it. 1 minute.
Okay, sir. My name is Babatunde Smith. Good afternoon, Mr. Shola. Really, I'm here to testify that really you are a giver. I happen to be a beneficiary of that your bank, the Cowrie Bank at Festac. You have a branch at Festac. And even then, I thought that because that bank gives to the community that area, I thought that bank belongs. I thought that bank is affiliated to the local government. Ayodele was the chairman then at that Amu Odofi. I know that most of people in that area, that bank serves them. Cowrie Bank. Your logo is this Oweyo. I happen to be a beneficiary. I took loan from there. I pay back. The fellow that introduced, I live at Ikotu, but then I am a political animal, but I'm not politicized. I live at Ikotu. I have a woman, exactly the woman is late now, Mrs. Olowo. She happened to be living at my 2. Therefore, when she saw my challenges, we are family friends, she introduced me. Therefore, I thought that bank belongs to the local government because that bank serves people in that area and that community. I thought even it's an affiliation to Ayodele, the chairman then, because even I thought the bank bought the cars for the councillors. The woman introduced me, I paid my loan. Then recently, some years back, I called one of your marketers and she said she has now moved on to a bank at Ikeja here. I have to thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you. I have to attest that you are a giver.
Thank you very much. That's a testimonial. So that is not just, telling us theories, telling us practical. Number 3. Okay, good. Quickly.
Thank you so much. My name is Prince Ade Ajayi. I will use this opportunity and a privilege to thank Mr. Shola. I think that the change we are looking for in Nigeria is this topic, community association pivot of development. Amazing. Gabriel Hammond's structural functionalism says something about the structure. If we really want to develop this country, we need this model. And it's not a model of a theory. is a practical theory. Moving this practical theory now out of this place to all Nigeria, 774 local governments, and develop our community. If we continue this way, government in Abuja will be irrelevant. Patriotism that we are talking about, we developed and challenged, sir. You know, my great-grandpa from generation where we come from, you know, we were told that we moved from Isekpe. My generation of my father also started Okobaba, that plank you are looking at. We moved to Ejiri, from Ejiri to start that Okobaba. But because of mahogany tree, that when you get to our grandpa, you know, to go and get for them and every other thing, they moved down to their uncle in Isekiti. We have 3 Ise, came from Benin and never that Isekpe, Isekiti, and Okeuse. So, and when you are talking about this Ekiti today, the largest forest in West Africa is reside in that Ekiti. You can Google it, it's a forest. And our forefather up to today, we do some mill, you know, plumbing work, and that's what we do. But what I'm trying to say now like that is that how are we going to use this platform to now start advocating for community development? Boko Haram will disappear. Insecurity will disappear. Development will continue. Patriotism will grow. So far, we already have Mr. Shola here. This is a very powerful platform, and I'm going to work with you in the local government where I stay in Lagos, Ifako-Ijaye. I'm a vice chairman of the CDA. I share the security aspect. Is, you know, because it's not done on me say, it is true. The relative peace we have in Nigeria today, in Lagos today, is because of that structure. It's because of that structure. We can replicate it to any area in Nigeria. All what we need is to, you know, because people want to hear. I've been hearing at Bajo. I'm in, you know, educational sector also. I lecture in Olabisi Obanjo University for years. But what I'm trying to say now is that beyond theories, beyond workshops like this, how to now take this topic to all Nigeria. And I surely believe that through UAC, we are going places. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once again, and I'm sure Sholatu is very excited that when we, you know how this started. I know Shola is my friend. We fight all the time, those of us who know. and we fight because we want the best for Nigeria, and that's just the truth. We are always at dagger's end, all because we want the best for Nigeria. On issues we differ, on some we agree, on some we disagree to agree. This one. Yeah, so I follow him on Facebook. And I saw some of the exploits with the Bajo community. And I said, Shola, this thing you are doing, scalable, is something we can build a model out of it and export it to different communities across the country. I mentioned it to him. He said, yes, let's see how we can make it happen. And I called the convener. And convener to me and him, we're always fighting. And fortunately, on this one, we did not fight. When I told him that I said, yes, excellent, let's make it happen. And I have a few friends here and there. Because it makes sense. Anybody I tell about this, they said, yes, let's do it. It's possible, it's doable. It's the reason we organize this as a first step. Let us talk about it. Let us make it an issue. And like we agreed, going forward, we are going to select 10 pilot communities. And we need all of the volunteers we can get. Because after this, we'll go into some brainstorming sessions. So from all of the things we'll get from here, we'll need volunteers. Like we have just volunteered to join us. We need a lot more of people who will experience. So that we'll sit down with him, like we have agreed, to develop the template. Once we develop the template, we'll also develop qualification criteria for the communities that will join the first cohort, the pilot scheme of 10 communities that we'll mentor. Then once we now start. Once we start, we will make public all of our findings, all of our steps, so that there are some who will not join the mentoring directly, but just by listening to what we do, they will also be doing it. They will be part of future projects, because we know we are not government, so we may not be 10. So that 10 will be very, very competitive, and will be across the country, not just in the Southwest. There are some other communities who may be in Igbo land, or maybe in the Arewa land, and they already have what it takes to qualify. Once we pre-qualify them, they will join the cohort, and that's how and what we want to do going forward. Number 4. Yes. Okay.
UAC. Yeah, my name is Dr. Afolabi, for those who don't know. I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited. And I want to make some observation or contribution. The membership of Igbajo Community Development Association is through clubs and societies. What about township? Do they come like Lagos branch of Igbajo Community Development, like Ibadan branch? Do you incorporate branches to city branches into the?
Qualify them as just a society. They are just society. Okay, like we have in Abuja today, the Igbajo Community Association in Abuja. They are just a society. Ashiwaju Awomolo is their leader, and they're just a society.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good, because we in my community, we relate more with branches. So we're gaining. So we brand, because what you have taught us today, which I expect, I urge every member of people participating in community development, is to take the community association as a government. It's very, very key. Once we're able to convince my team that you take up that thing as the fourth style of government, then, like you said, every other thing will fall in place, and it will galvanize development in so many ways. I'm quite appreciate your contribution, and I commend the submission to be made open so that we can send it to so many people that did not participate today, but they will gain much from the presentation. I also want to commend the word community, not to physical community that we're talking about today. Imagine your workplace as a community. Read through the blueprint and practicalize what is in that document. You see your community, your workplace as a community succeeding. Regard your religious organizations as a community. Read through the content of this presentation and use them. You make a success of that community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And that remains one of the biggest takeaway, and not even one of the biggest. The biggest is if you're not taking anything, have it in mind that you want to build a community as the fourth tier of government, and that is the mantra. Number 5. Okay, don't worry. When we finish the first round, they took number.
Yeah, UAC. Number 1, I will manage the time. So, number 1 is this thing. I think what's Igbajo analyzed, he just described now, is far different from Lagos State. An example, I came from Mushin, precisely Dolo, and I know those who know Dolo, they know what it means. The most notorious. But now, the CDA, the head of CDA, they pick. Yeah, my name is Taiwo Ogunle. Thank you, sir. Yeah, they picked the representatives from CDAs that will join CDC like you. And I think these people have been there. The first question is the ESCO, I didn't talk about members now. Are the ESCOs feast? Do they shrink them? Maybe they have time to shrink them. Number 1. Number 2 is that in that kind of environment, the honesty, they are under government in the area. They are not politicking or political. They politicize things like you used. So how can one influence this Because personally, like you said, it should be a fourth tier of government. It should be. They get to the they can even in my area, there are things I can't say. You know, some people you can't say. You can't even report to the police. Because when the policemen are passing, they even aid them. I mean, they hate trially. Policemen aid those who will have reported. So everybody is very careful. Now, how do you operate? How can you introduce this to that kind of, it's different. Unlike Igbajo, this is Musho Deoro. So I really wanted to there are different things. Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. You want to note it or you want to answer it right away? Okay, yes, good. Yeah, so we'll note that and answer it. But just as a foreword, you heard what he said, what Dr. Afolabi said. Transpose the meaning of community, the concept of community beyond the geographical boundary community. If it is impracticable for now in your community, like Mushin Delowo, they took over what is currently happening there. You can organize another form of community where all of the lessons will be practiced. But then, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. But I just want to quickly touch that before I miss it. Yes, number 6. Yeah. Number 6 is here. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Khalifa Ibrahim Tijani from Surulere. Let me say from Itire Kationda, Lagos State. Because it is a Surulere rural area. Yeah, it's an undeveloped area. If you see that place, you will look at it and say, is this Surulere? So I'm very happy to be here. In fact, the speaker, I'm so much glad to hear from you. What I heard here really impressed me. I'm into the community. As an imam, I was challenged. Kilenwambe, community development organization, how does it relate to religious or something? I have to tell them, this is what I've been trained on by my father, that you have many things to contribute into the community. But today, I am the secretary to my community. So that is the reason I just want to make a word that just make sure you belong to a CDA in your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Michael is back online now. He just hinted me that he may want to go on now. So I'm sorry, those of us still on the queue. You give us just some few more minutes. Mr. Michael also has a lot of knowledge to share with us on community development. And we already have a platform where we started engaging. Like I said, we want to really be committed to this. You people who are also very committed. And I sincerely hope from among this, the group of listeners here, maybe we'll be able to pick a substantial number of the communities that will be part of the first cohort for the mentoring session. But it's something we believe sincerely that we'll have a long way to go. I mean, in the course of our conversation, there was somebody who joined this conversation and he said, look, start the cohort. He mentioned it in the group. I have a government that there are some foreign governments. If we are well organized about that, they can get funding support from them in millions of dollars. And it's fund to help grow your community, a counterpart funding to help grow your community. And it's only a community that's organized that can be a part of it. Michael, Okay, Michael is on now. Okay, let me unmute Michael. Okay, Michael, you are on, so you can have the floor.
I can hear you.
You can-
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. I suppose I lost you while introducing myself and getting into the meat of the discussion, which is community development as an heritage. And I was explaining the genesis of community development activities in the area where I come from today, which is my community, Odoro community of Ekiti State. Again, it's very important for us to have historical perspective because if we do not know where we are coming from, we won't know where we are going to. Unfortunately, we are a nation that seems to not engage history. As a result, sometimes when we are looking for solutions to problems, we are not able to reach forth to those things that have basically worked in the past. And I appreciate the previous speaker and as well as subsequent questions that emphasized how Lagos has worked, leveraging community development associations into their LCDAs. That is part and parcel of their local government administration. It is not unusual. In fact, the interesting thing is that the Lagos model is based on the model that were very well perfected by the colonial masters while they were doing or engaging in colonial government in Nigeria. They often governed through native authorities who in turn were supervised by what they call district officers. And these district officers had representatives in every town, every chiefdom, every district that gave specific intelligence and engagements with community development associations in those communities. Native authorities, by essence, were community associations, especially in communities where they were synthesized, where they never previously existed. So the Lagos model is based on this model that we inherited from the past. And that's why I wanted to give you guys a perspective of our own experience in Odoro. As I was previously saying. Like I said, Odoro is a community that came together during the intertribal warfare of the 1800s, late 1800s, which we all know as the Kiriji War in Yoruba land, but also directly or indirectly connected to the war between the Oyo Empire and its allies and the Fulani Caliphate coming from Sokoto that centered around the loss of Ilorin and the tensions of that region. Those two wars that happened almost within a space of 20 to 30 years led to many unstable communities in that area, which I happen to come from. And the only way those communities could survive as a whole, either the people or because those people that the region
on. We just lost. Yes, we so much want to hear your perspective. Oh, okay, I guess we lost Michael now. So we'll continue here. I'm sure, like I said, we'll not allow offline now. Yes, we lost Michael now. He just went offline. We're sincere, but like I said, we'll not allow technology to debar us. We'll continue to manage it. I saw number 6. Number 7. Okay, number 8. Number 8, that's number 8. You did not get a number, but I'll give you one. You have been consistent in asking. Okay. Yes, sir.
Good day, everyone. My name is Bile Somi. I'm from Ifakojai Local Government Council. Bile Somi is my name. Bile Somi. I'm from Ifakojai Local Government Council. I'm very much happy. I'm very pleased to be here. And first of all, I have to thank the UAC for putting up a team of this discussion as the community association, as a pilot of the development. I'm a community practitioner too, and I'm so much involved in Ifakojai. I'm representing Ifakojai at the Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council. And we meet regularly every month. With this exposure as well, and it's a very good advantage. And I myself can be an ambassador to disseminate your theoretical lectures within because the connections within the 57 local governments in Lagos State, where we meet every month. Even though we may have a little inch, because when you put up such things you have gained here, and all those what we have learned, and there's even example of the Igbajo example, they may love it, they may take it, but whatever be the obstacle, we shall try and see how we can circumvent that. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much. It's a very laudable project, and I'm sure it will go a long way. Having been a member of the chairman of CDA and a member of the CDAC in Lagos State, I have replicated this in Ijebu-Ode. I replicated it, I put them up to make sure that they meet every day, they contribute from their pockets as much as 50 kobo, 50 naira, 100 naira, whatever you have, take it, have your register them. Luckily, when they announced one Amzat as the commissioner for community development in Ogun State, I told them it's very possible to reach out to him so that we know the needs of the community. And don't say because you are in the urban area, you don't need anything from government or you cannot plan. You can plan. It's not the development community, it's not for the rural area alone. The urban people too can come together and know the needs. From excellence in Ogba to Ifakojai, it's a very long route, Baton through College Road. There's no lights. The government put up something there, and we learned that because of a political connection, somebody to maintain it is staying at Ibadan. He doesn't know whether the light is on or off or whatever. So these are the things the urban people can stand up to and see how you cannot fight this in one day and win, but you can do something. Okay, if the government failed, you have put on all these things, then we are going to maintain it for you. If it is just buying a diesel or whatever, even going to satellite, you can do something. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will note that as part of our post roundtable discussion and engagement to see how we can engage the existing community development advisory council structure in Lagos State. Peradventure, we could influence them as a group and replicate this model across. So we'll look at that possibility, but we are excited to want to partner with it. So just sorry now, we would want to engage those of the online participants, just the two of them, then we'll come back to the next speakers here. So Mr. Dauda Sanusi, if you are still online, engineer, please help me unmute him. Mr. Dauda Sanusi, you now have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, for wonderful the master class that was just given. My question is actually very direct. How do we build a sustainable funding structure for the CDAs for the community development associations beyond just the philanthropy that was emphasized. Sustainable structure for it. And secondly, a lot of news or information about corruption at the level of CDA. How do we manage or plug this loophole or protect this particular fourth level so that what corrupted first, second, and third level of government, or what destroyed the values of first, second, and third level of government will not also permeate and destroy the fourth structure that we think would help us back on our values. Thank you very much.
Number one, how do we expand the funding sources beyond philanthropy? Number two, we hear stories of corruption in CDAs. The first tier of government is already corrupted. The second tier is corrupted. Third tier is corrupted. How can we protect the fourth tier from joining the corruption line? Yeah. So thank you very much for that question, Mr. Dauda Sanusi. So we'll take on the question from Mr. Kamil. Mr. Kamil, engineer, help us unmute Mr. Kamil.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Mr. Kamil, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Let me start by appreciating my brother Abraham Leki, because I just saw this online, and initially I wasn't sure it was going to be a serious model or a serious concept, but because of my own personal interest in community related works, I said, okay, whatever it takes, I'm going to wake up early, because actually I work late very night at night, and so I'm going to wake up early and be part of this, because 9 o'clock is 8 o'clock here. So I appreciate that, my brother. I just have a few things to contribute. One is the fact that my first question is anyone here who is below 35? Is there anybody here who's below 35 years of age? That if there is nobody below 35 years of age, there is a disconnect. And then there may be need for us to have a project that would mobilize that age group. That is just for us to think about. Secondly, is that I'm of the opinion that projects can emanate from here, so that it's not just going to be theories, models, and things to discuss. Projects can also emanate from here. We need to have projects that people will own and people will work on. These projects can target, just like the presenters spoke about, it can target wider participation, it can target wider contribution, it can target engagement of our political leaders, it can target so many things. I'm going to share a little experience here. There is a little project we did here. It was called Science About Science. What it was meant to do was to ensure that the leaders, they have enough knowledge about what is in the science that they are going to legislate about. Most of them, our legislators don't know so many things about what is happening in our community. And they will be there and taking decisions on our behalf. So how do we ensure that they have enough facts to take decision on? So what we did was to we organize what we call Science About Science. And we engage the legislators. We got our facts and data. We gave it to them for them to go and use to defend our position, you know. And it was a huge success. You see, I asked the question about age here because it was that age category that was able to drive this. You know, we engaged our MPs, we engaged everybody. We invited them and they came. They have to come because it's a responsibility. So if the communities are well strengthened, you will discover that your representatives are actually not above you. You invite them, they will come. So I need us to look at that. Lastly, just to buttress the issue of grants that you spoke about. There is an EU grant that is actually targeting sustainability. And the concept of sustainability in the global practice is about community participation. So how are they related? A project is coming to your community. There is need for you to own that project. Then the sustainability aspect of it is that the community must be responsible for it to be sustained. Unlike before, when this project was done, that it will be abandoned and nothing happens. You go back, some years after and nothing is there. So I really commend this initiative. And I want to tell you that I'm happy to be here and I'm willing to always contribute when called upon. I'm going to call two people out here, Mr. Abile Somi and the Imam. Honestly, I really want to encourage you. What you are doing is fantastic, but please go back to your communities. But the Imam in particular, I know you have a lot of youths under you. There is need to ensure inclusion. It is very vital and important. Thank you.
Camille is calling from the UK, I guess. So Camille, if you can still hear me, send me your phone number and email address so we can engage you after this session. So we'll take the last two questions with Michael before I will bring on Mr. Shola. But quickly, just want to beg your pardon. It is not in the character of UAC to stop a program by one time and they won't stop. So I want to seek your indulgence, even though I know most of us did not come early. We started by 10 instead of 9 a.m. So we lost 1 hour. Are we agreed that we should gain the hour back or we just 30 minutes? 30 minutes. Okay, so we are agreeing on 30 minutes in the first instance. 1 hour. Oh, everybody wants 1 hour. So they have overruled you. They say 1 hour. 30 minutes. Okay, fine. We will take 30 minutes in the first instance. We will try as best as possible to wrap up within that time. If we are not able, I will still come back and see how far we'll go. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, or morning. Mr. Shola Fanowokbo is our big brother, and then it's been a while. I saw him face to face like this. So we have been seeing your jobs on the UAC platform. You and Mr. Lecky, you always give it back to back. So we enjoy you guys. So I just want to attest to the fact that, yes, CDA have been so useful and have been so helpful. So like, I'll give an instance for me back then, 2007 at Oshodi. So I'm a member of Oshodi CDA, an ex-officio. And 2007, I was so young. So in fact, I've not served my NYSC. So my CDA nominated me to contest for councillor for my ward. And in fact, I almost got the ticket. If not that, politically, you know, politics now, they will tell you, return all incumbents. And that was how I lost it. So for me, I think CDA is something all of us should take with serious and in fact, more serious. So that's that about that. Then secondly, concerning Igbajo, I was at Igbajo 2020. I went there for a job. The person happens to be, in fact, we have great men in Igbajo. That person is a lawyer to Babangida. So, and he's a very, very, you know him, sir. So he's a very, very influential person. So, but during my travel in Igbajo, I observed that, yes, you have very good plans and all, but I still wonder how you were able to manage the Igbajo Polytechnic. Are you saying that, because you didn't mention, so I was forced to ask that, are you saying there was no corruption in your, in the IDA, Igbajo Development Association? I think you should tell us how you were able to manage that. Thank you.
Okay, I think the questions on corruption has come about twice. So you need, Muitala Williams, so you need to talk to us about corruption. So one person who has been begging to speak, yeah, so I will take you, Michael, quickly.
UAC, Change Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The lead discussants and other people that have spoken online. My name is Edafe Ogene Blume, but in short, they call me Comrade Efe Blume. Actually, I was one of those that started with UAC, but I've backslid for some while. No, let me say it's not funny. I backslide, not because we started together, but there's one particular comment of mine that will normally give me the updates and tell me, like today, I've forgotten. I was at home. You say, what you better now? I had to rush, and I trekked from airport bus stop down here. I was sweating when Imam saw me in the bathroom, in the toilet when I was washing my face. Because there was no cash, there's no cash. You see, I like this topic, community development, because I did it as a course in University of Lagos. And I served in Odiolowu, that guy, one of our guys spoke about Odiolowu when Ali was the chairman. I served in that department, agric department. Coming on for that, I thank you. I follow your listing, your community, and I've tapped from your knowledge, you know, even online and physically. It's a very good thing you have been doing. It's the best service to humanity. You see, UAC, I want to kindly advise. It's an advice. Like what Imam said, Sule local government. If you want to take any community as a pilot project in Lagos, because Lagos is out of it, take community like Sule. Lagos has been suffering since 1999. And Lagos will continue to suffer until somebody leaves Lagos. And that person must leave Lagos. I was born and brought up in Lagos. I schooled in Lagos. I was bred in Lagos. I was born in Oshodi. I schooled in Unilag. And I later lived in the barracks, from barracks to Okeodo. As pleasure before Abulegba. In that community, I got to that community in 1999, May 11. Sorry, I will take some things because this is very, very important. And when I got to the community, I look at they are not organized. The former president of the youth, he's called the university. That one has some. The first time I go to that meeting, I said, Carnival and only Carnival, Kokota, as a covenant. But his friend was looking at me, each time I contribute at the meeting, because our meeting was just like a national assembly. We argue he now stylishly picked me as the assistant secretary, because the secretary went to serve in Zamfara. And I became, from there, he grew me to be the president. But you know the dilemma of that thing. That's one of his jabba. That's one of his guys killing us. So you get. But in the course of that community, we had contact with someone in government, Alex Beshola, who collect GC funds from them. We are the one that groomed them to go to school, on law school. We bought GC form, we give them tutorials. Someone will facilitate the admission. The community was growing. The CDA became threatened. Because even the ballet will come and send for me, I love the president, I love the president. The police DPO was afraid of me because we were using petition. Our own is we won't fight you. I'm a competitor, I'm a lost to him. There was a time they wanted to turn our bus stop. Sahala, Almighty Sahala. Even the city was afraid. They've collected money from him. They even gave him a back of the motion of the he wanted to turn. And I told them, we have garage at Ilekpo Market. We have garage at Yanapaja. We want to start another garage at Pleasure in the middle. It will kill us. No community survives without a crime. Any community that has garage cannot survive crime. Most people coming from church, Abalatura in the morning, from night vigil, they will rape them, they will pay their bags. I stood with Salah for 4 years with petition. Moise Barrier, this Dr. Moise Barrier was the commissioner for transport. The transport there, he was not as serious because he called the meeting. I said, President, I explain what do you see? I said, let me tell you, Commissioner. Because the governor was there in Landhouse. Alabama was the commissioner of police. I said, let me tell you, when a policeman was killed at Pressure Bus Stop, it was the youth who invaded that community and arrested the youth. And that policeman was killed by one of the Agberu at the bus stop. Commissioner said, Dr. Domo is so. See, monitor, sorry. See, just like I've said, let's start a pilot project aside the politicized CDA. There's no CDA in Lagos. I've sat there. I've worked at the state level. I've worked at the city. I was the government died in Apulekedo at Ojoba. I was the press secretary, CPS, 40 years. CDA, they politicized. Before, just like what Amma said, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Michael. Engineer, please, it's no longer online. Wow. Okay, Mr. Shola, I would invite Shola to respond to. Yes, thank you very much, Shola.
Don't worry, it's my running mate. Fundamentally, we argue a lot. And incidentally, we love ourselves so much. If you enter between us, you are the only one that will lose. Because after all the engagements, he will reach out to me at the back. There's some clarification he would love to me. He will reach out to me. There are questions that I want to ask. My first point of contact. That will get it done, because I'm always looking for advantage for my community. And there are a lot of things they are doing in Lagos that you can tap into. Let me stress something and make it very clear. Lagos State has most advanced intervention in community development. They have a law on community development in Lagos. Actually, the law they have in Lagos actually confirmed CDA as fourth tier of government. Lagos is the only state government that have done that. But one thing is constitution. Another thing is constitutionalism. It is in the book. Are they running it very well? That's the question. Can they do it very well? That one depends on the people or in our involvement. I mentioned the question of security. There was a time the federal government wanted to toy with the idea of withdrawing firearms in the community. and I told a friend, how many arms would they withdraw in Lagos? Because I can tell you, sincerely speaking, the number of arms owned by community in Lagos is quite very huge. There's no community, organized community in Lagos that does not buy firearms. Abi, Baba? They buy firearms. They kept it in my house before. We do background check, and the policemen in the community always was up. Because that's the only way you can manage the security in the community. So let me commend Lagos State for a very good work. The rest depend on who is the governor. The structure is there. If you have a pro-people governor today, he will use the structure to the benefit of the people. It's as simple as that. That's what I want in a labor structure. Structure is there, process is there. Then it depends on who is the leader of the government. The usage. Every community, see, if you lead a community, you will build the community in your image. So that is why we must always elect a forthright leader that will lead a community in his own image. So what you have is that if you have a governor that is not very knowledgeable about community development, he's not likely to do anything. That's the reality. So let me attempt to address some of the issues we have raised. Let me start from the CDA in the cities. Community development is the same thing everywhere. A CDA in Lagos State can have a vision based on the reality of that community. If the issue is the issue of security, you can bring a lot of resources to manage the security in the community. You can use technology, you can do everything. A CDA can decide that every business in that community must deploy CCTV. And they will agree. And track everybody and put it in a central location. Share with the police people. It is possible. It is possible. Because what the CDA does in Lagos State is that they erect gates, which is commonplace, which is good. But they can take a step further, Abi, and use technology to see everybody. It is a possibility. That is the focus of that CDA. It must be very clear. There must be a vision. Simple as ABC. There's no difference between a community development organization in a city and in a rural area. The focus is, what are your vision? How do you want the CDA to look like in the next whatever? In our CDA in Lagos, how many roads are tarred in the CDA? I mean, you have a connection of road. Maybe within your CDA, you have 20 streets. I mean, how many of them are tarred? So in the next 10 years, how many of those roads do you want tarred? Then the next thing is that, who do we go to as a community? Simple. In our CDA, we don't have a market. We don't have a library. We want a library. So you already have your vision. Simple. How do we raise money? Once you have a vision, everything starts coming into place. It's the same thing. It's the same wahala all over. How you now address it will be peculiar to that particular community. We raise the issue of corruption. Corruption is everywhere. Corruption is where? Everywhere. That is why I mentioned you must have a constitution that guides everything you are doing. The position you have must be tenured. You are not a chief. You are not a monarch. You are not a KBC. In my community, it's 3 years, and you can only do 2 terms. However fantastic your ideas are, I personally don't do more than 1 term anywhere I serve. I move on. There are lots of things. See, the life is too short to spend it in only one location. Very, very short and brutish. I want to try something else and enjoy myself. 3 years, I'm done. I move on. I don't want to sit tight. So if you're in a community, you must know how to monitor everything. There's something we call the Ibajo Day. Ibajo Day is an opportunity for us to gather every year and meet ourselves. We do it every Easter, and we run it for a week. For the first time when we had this year Ibajo Day, I gave all the what do you call it? The inflow and outflow. Everything that came in, and I shared with everybody. They've never done it before.
Yeah. So sorry, I have to stop him. Michael wants to speak for about 5 or 10 minutes. We hope we'll be able to get the best from it. So I want to advise line to please turn off your video and please turn off the video as well. We hope that will save bandwidth and also support him to be able to, get through to us. 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes, you can turn off your video. I think your video is.
Okay.
All right. Just maybe we can save time. I still see the video, so again, it's probably going to be challenging until we turn off the video. I wanted, the theme of my discussion today is just a quick one around drawing on our heritage of community development to solve the problems that we confront today. And I wanted to share the story of the Federation of Odo Development Union, which I am proud of to be part of a third generation of trustees that are currently overseeing the organization. And they share with you some of the things we've been able to achieve in the last 100 years. Actually, 110 years since the union in its informal state was first created. As I had indicated, the Federation of Odoro Development Union is essentially is now the formalized gathering of Odoro sons and daughters from over 15 communities that make up Odoro Ekiti. And is involved essentially in the actions and acts of community development since Odoro Ekiti came together post the Yoruba Civil War in the early 1900s. The first generation of leaders definitely recognized that the survival of that community after that civil war depended on the cooperation of the community and the ability of that community to advocate for itself with the government of the day, then the colonial government that came thereafter in the 1900s, to build that community and to restore the integrity of man after a major civil war in the area. And that was the generation of my own grandfather. And they worked very hard to build the community. In fact, that community earned its name from the success of their work. Odoro, if you understand Yoruba, means the bedrock of wealth. The community initial development drew these communities, about 15 of them, 15 clans of different origins, by the way. I continue to emphasize it. Not everybody in that community came from the same area. They were not essentially, even though today we are Ekiti by dialect and of course culture. Part of that community we have Ibira, because if we come to Odoro today, we have what we call Oko Ibira. We have among us the Fulanis. We have among us the folks that came in from Ile-Ife. We have among us folks that journeyed all the way from Ijebu. Okay, Ijebu is right there in the Odoro community today. We have among us folks that came in from the Kogi area, the Kunris. They are from the Kogi area. And so they were people of different origins, but knowing that their faith were tied together by the ability to advocate for themselves. The Odoro community started to develop by transposing farmland communities into urban areas, which is now form almost the central area of the Lake government area. Those first generation of leaders identified economic development as very necessary for them to be in that community. And thus started the movement towards plantations farming. My grandfather was a big and large cashew and cola nut and cocoa farmer. And that was very typical of his time, but it was not a singular effort. It was a community in 20s. My own grandfather came back from training what is now the Obafemi Awolowo University, where it is currently located. Then the colonial master set up a training ground for plantation farming for cocoa generation. Also had
Okay, Michael, thank you very much. That would be it for today. And we are very sure, like we said, in subsequent workshops, when we start the implementation phase, I'm sure there are still a lot to learn from Michael and all of us who are part of different communities that will be able to come up this with. Yeah, so Mr. Shola, you have the floor.
Like the issue of corruption is raised by two people. And like I said, if you look at the criteria I raised, processes is very important and structure. Once you have a good process in place that entails the issue of structure, the issue of constitution, and check and balances. When there are corruption, you'll be able to track it and stop it immediately. It is very, very important you do that. And equally, how the community relates to infraction like that is very, very important as well. Most community will not condone it. They will almost excommunicate not only you, your family, from having positions like that. They are very, very important. But I can assure you, it will rear its head. Muritala Williams raised the issue of corruption, even in our polytechnic. There are people in the community that are involved to the level of over 20 million in projects development within the polytechnic. The case is still with the ICP, whatever. They will happen. It will not happen. Of community members. It will happen. We employ for our poly, and we discover along the line that the certificate is even used for the job. They are with the ICPC today. There are people in the community that are falling on upon the case. Kò sí pé mo mọ daddy mi ni whatever. They are involved. They are involved. That is the reality. It will happen. There's no saint community anywhere in the world. But the processes and the structure must be very clear. You must realize that your position is tenured. You are not a KBC. It's not a chief. It's a process. So we must take that to cognizance. That is why I said those fundamentals are very important when you are building a community development organization. It's even more difficult in the cities. Very, very difficult in the cities because of the factors of politics and all of that extraneous, diverse factors. And you know, when you build community organization in the city, the passion is not really there because nobody really owns the environment. The passion is not there. Unlike when you go back to the community, everything is involved. Your family is involved. Your ancestral home is involved. You know the implication of being excommunicated from a community because of corruption. Your compound, your family might not have access to certain things again in life. That's happened in the past. You know, it's possible in the community. Unlike Lagos. But like Lekki said, if the system is process-driven, even in Lagos, you can see attain all the lofty aim and objective that you want to. Because you find out that we live all our life in Lagos. If we don't have good scenes of life in Lagos, how do we enjoy life? How much of the time do we spend in our community back home? This is where you live. In fact, most time your kids don't even know your community. So you must live good life in the community. Anytime you go back to your community in Lagos and you enter the gate, you have peace. Some people are working for that peace that you enjoy. Some people toil for the peace you enjoy. The only thing you part with is money. Some people do the organization. I don't get involved in them in Lagos, but I always appreciate them. How do I appreciate them? I pay all the money they ask for as soon as I have it. I train my people. When you get to the gate, be civil to people that you meet there. When they ask you to wait, exercise patience and go through the process. That is the only way you can support what they are doing. Whatever they are doing it for the benefit of all of us. Those are the things we can offer, even when we are not involved. Respect those who are involved. They are spending their time. I have seen people abusing people at the gates. We won't disturb one. They are not disturbing you. Don't disturb those things that you call disturbance is the reason why you have peace in those communities. That's the basis. If you are involved in community development, you know that a lot of things happen at the back end that you don't see. A lot of works goes into it. A lot of work come into it. It is not an easy job. So it's the same process. I've been involved in CDM in Lagos. I've been involved in my rural community. I can tell you it's the same process. The same process. The same people. It's about people, process, and structure. And you get results. The fundamentals are the same. How you manage them. So you can tweak this and that, and you get results. And fundamentally, if you get involved, you will sharpen your what? Your managerial skills. The most important skill in community development is people's management. It's quite reducible. You will be broken. You know the first thing you will do, you will be broken. In my community, we have what we call another team. I am the person that put the team together. Abi? You can imagine when you're free of the forum. The chairman of the forum is 94-year-old today. And on any issue, I'll be the first person they will call. And they no born your father well. When they call you, no pick. Even at the time you are not happy, you must show that you're happy all the time. So the first thing you learn is people's skill. You must relate with them very well. They are hold, they look up to you. Thing you cannot manage, they expect you to do what? To manage it. It's the same everywhere. They have expectations and they demand results. They demand results. So it is the same animal, whether you are in the city or where? Rural area. That because government puts so much in terms of structure and they want to extract maximum benefit from it. And you know, the first benefit is what is politics. So it is you now that will determine, it's not politics that we want. Apart from politics, these are the things, Abi, we want. And very simple, they will begin to do what? They will begin to align with you or whatever. Meet you at the point of your needs. But do we make those demands today? We don't make it enough. Because majority of us are not involved. We don't have the time to spend at the CDA meeting. They call CDA meeting 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. You say, no, I'm going out to just once in a month. You have to prepare to spend time with them and make sacrifices. That's very important. Baba Ifakojayi, Baba Bile Somi, I appreciate your coming. I appreciate the wonderful work you are doing for Lagos. We can only encourage you more to continue to do it. What other advice can you give? You are a veteran. Maybe you pick one or two things from what we have said. We are not likely to stay too long on what we are doing. For people like us, it's touch and go. Like life is too short. I want to enjoy other things. I want to learn other things. But for people like you, whose your life depends on community development, maybe you pick one or two things from us, please take it. Maybe things hardly change. It's difficult. Things don't turn easily like that. It's difficult for people to imbibe change. Very difficult. But I pray that the little thing we take care, we take it home, people will listen to it, and maybe they can evolve one thing or the other. And we appreciate your coming, sir. Yeah, Muritala, no, I've spoken about what you talk about. Ibrahim Tijani. Abi? Who's Ibrahim? No, I have Mr. Ibrahim Tijani from Surulere. Itere, you know, it's Itere Surulere, the most underdeveloped part of Surulere. See, organizing community could be very easy to build it around practical needs of the community. You know it. Drainage is a crisis in your community. It's always waterlogged. So you know what you need. You know what you need. During the rainy season, during that waterlog, take those pictures. It is easier to engage now. You can put people in the community, about 500 of them, on a WhatsApp group. We begin to raise the issue. Flood in our community. Share the pictures. You know, don't even blow it yet. Engage yourself. While you are engaging yourself, solution will come. So you need to do more. Build, don't take on too many projects at a time. Take only one project. The most important, a project that can do what? That can help you mobilize the community for action. You will be surprised what will happen. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what will happen to you. During that process, you become a change yourself. If you change, the community will not change you. You become a change man yourself. That is how to organize a community. You know that, okay, with Tirel, the focus is what? How do we combat flood? When you do that, our convener is environment sustainable expert. You will be the first person to come to your support. Can I assure you of that? He has done it in Lagos State. Abi, he can always do it. He'll be happy with his energy to support you. But don't do two things together. Do one. Life is very short. Nobody is ready to support you in two ways. Just one. You will attract a lot of support. That's the way to take it. Having been involved, the next thing is that how do I put my name behind a very important community advocate? Pick only one problem, a problem that can bring a lot of people together, and you move on. There will be obstacles. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. But the issue is, most of the landlords we have in our area are old, and they are looking at Surulere constituency 1, that somebody is making sure that this area is developed, and that is government. If government is not coming to their aid, they are not ready to give anything. We are all there. We are doing this, the community development together. At CDC itself, they are not ready to bring anything out from their pocket. That was the reason. If you come to our area, we see that many structures have gone. They have bought it. They have bought them. This one gone, this one gone, this one gone. So majority of these structures are gone. Many of these men want Darubo. They are not ready to help the issue.
Continue to link up with us. And the more we engage the problem, the more we'll be able to find solutions to it. So fundamentally, the most important thing is that you must continue to engage the process. There's always an opening when you engage a process. Don't stop engaging the process. The most important thing is that once you take a decision, you will get results. It's very fundamental. Engage the process and you get results. And part of the engagement is you're coming here today. Follow up on what we have done. And at the end of the day, you get results. Finally, somebody raised a question from the online on beyond philanthropism, beyond charity, how do we get other source of funding for community development? We have said it here. And that's a call to action to UAC. There are a lot of developmental funds or development partners all over the world, even in Nigeria. There are Dangote Foundation. They do a lot of stuff within the community. But I can assure you, even my community, we don't have the expertise, we don't have the know-how to assess all those projects. Very cumbersome. The process is very, very cumbersome, very, very demanding. And you know, this is a part-time process. You hardly have the time to go through the process. I've engaged this thing a lot of time. I've not been able to attract a single kobo to the community. That is where a UAC will come in. They have the skill, they have individuals, they have lawyers, they have community development experts, they have civil servants, who can address all these issues. By the time, so what UAC has said is that they will put a structure in place. The structure will be able to do what? Aggregate these 10 community development together and help them to assess those development partners where funding will be gotten to support the community who are fulfilling the criteria they put in place. 1, 2, 3, 4. You must follow the process. Once you follow the process, because you must be able to monitor and report back to the organization. So once you do that, we can access more funding. There are more than 2,000 development partners pumping money in projects in Africa. I can assure you most of those money goes to East Africa. Abi? Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Botswana, even in South Africa, most of those money don't come to Nigeria. You know why? Number one, we don't have vision. Number two, we don't have the structure because they will demand those things. Then we don't have, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. They will ask you, what have you done in the past? I'm not against giving glory to God. This is the only part of the world where everything we've done is to the God alone. We are not intellect. We don't have intellectual. We don't record anything. But before those people will give you money, they will ask you, what have you done? Where are your stories? The little one we have done, have you shared the story with others so that they can learn from it? When I check all the European capitals that are engaged in tree planting scheme, the highest they did last year was 4,000. The city that did the highest. My community did 18,500. Did I tell the story enough? No. That is the challenge. But tomorrow I will just go to church. I give glory to Jesus. That will not fetch me funding for next year. So those are the things UAC will put in place so that will now help us to begin to access those funding. And those in Lagos, let me tell you one thing you can do today. If you are a community in Lagos, go and launch a tree planting scheme. Go and do what? A tree planting scheme. Let me tell you, let me tell you, in front of your house, you plant 2 trees. It doesn't have to be. And I will tell you the advantage. You know it. You know it. There's no space you cannot plant trees. If you go to Barcelona, you see trees everywhere. If you go to France today, you see trees everywhere. That is the idea. Go and launch it in your community. Look at your community, look at the radius. Check it. In the next 2 years, we want to plant 200 trees in our community. Let me tell you, the governor will visit your community. The governor will come to work. Community. When it comes to your community, it will tar roads because of what you have done. Abi, it's your initiative. There's no community that cannot do stuff. I've not seen that community. It depends on your vision. You must have a vision. There are communities in the world today that, do you know what they are doing? They don't allow vehicle in their community. Yes, you can only take, you can only do bicycle. They are reconstructing all their road. Want pollution. Now only keke. That is a community decision. So there are a lot of things we can do, projects we can do in the community. Look at your community, look at the project. You start as an individual, a lot of people will join you. I can assure you of that. It takes an individual to change a community. Just an individual to change a community. You join the structure, they listen to you, begin to change the structure. At the end of the day, to catch up fire, everybody will join you. I thank you for coming today. And I hope that you will take at least one thing back home and go back to your community and become a community organizer. A community what? Organizer. I don't know where it will take you, because even myself, I don't know where my commitment and my sacrifice will take me. They ask me in my community, what next? I say, I don't even know if there is next. All I know is that I work for only today. My focus today is, let me do what I can do for my community. Let me do what I can do for the kids. Most important element is the kids. Let me do whatever I can do for them. You can take a decision today. Let me do whatever I can do for my community. And at the end of the day, I'll tell you, do you know what they call the unspeakable joy? You will have it. You will, what they call unspeakable joy. I started getting involved in community development in the last 2 years. The last 2 years have been the most joyful part of my adult life. Because you know why? I have impacted too many people. I have forced people who hitherto cannot give a dime to their community to give millions to the community. What else do I want from God? Now, when you pray in the night, who do you pray for? You pray for your family. You pray for yourself. Me, I pray for my family. I pray for myself. I pray for my community. You know why? If anything happens in the community today, it's my phone that will ring first. Eh? So suddenly I discovered that I'm responsible for the whole of community. Nothing gives you bigger joy than you are relevant to a whole community. There's nothing gives you bigger joy than that. That the fate of community is dependent on your decision. My community don't write the governor without my signature. In fact, the KBSU of our community cannot sign. And I don't earn a dime for doing this. But I'm the happiest man in the world, because I discovered that people value my contribution to the community. Lastly, you are only happy when you give. The highest level of giving is community involvement. There's no level of giving that is better, where you derive better joy than serving a community. And I know my father used to say, you know, in tennis, nobody serves well and lose a game of tennis. You serve your community, go and write it down, can never be a loser. My father will always tell me when I was young, so if you serve very well, I'm not going to lose. Game of tennis, table tennis, and non-tennis. If you're a good server, you're not likely to lose. If you serve your community very well, there are two rewards in the world. When we serve, when we do anything, we have two banks. The bank of equity and the bank of inequity. All your good work is stored in the bank of what? Equity. All your bad work is stored where? Inequity. I can bet you your children and children, they will take from those two banks. Unfortunately for them, you, their father, may not even take anything from those banks. When we are in school, you discover that some kids, they are so wayward and they enjoy all the benefits, all the grace in the school. You see, because of them. The confidence with their parents. What are you building for your children? The time you spend for the community, forget it. Your kids, they will enjoy it. So that is on spiritual level. But fundamentally, the most important thing is that we want a better Nigeria. A better Nigeria is the best for all of us. And finally, too, I'm a very proud man. I don't believe Oyinbo man is better than me. If you listen to the anthem of Osun State, only Awani Ogo Adulawo. Ogo Kini Adulawo. Are you truly the Ogo Adulawo? Please, let's search ourselves. We want to be the one to take the black to the final level. And I know God will help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mr. Shola Fanowokpo. I'm indeed very excited, and I'm sure every one of us is. I have just two programs left, just 2 items left, and it won't than 5 or 10 minutes for us to round up. Number one, our next immediate engagement will be the brainstorming session for us to put this together and develop the standard framework for community engagement that we shall use to support the 10 communities for the pilot session. So if you know your community is interested in being part of that pilot, you can reach out to me or to Mr. Shola or to the secretary of UAC. That's number one. Number two is if you want to volunteer to be a part of that brainstorming session, when you go out now, you can put down your name with the registrar there at the back. If you are interested in being a part of the brainstorming session, and I'm not sure what day that would happen now, I'll reach out to Mr. Shola and we'll agree on the date, and we'll reach out to you so that will be part of it. It is that team that will come up with the blueprint that will be used for scaling with other groups. Number three, they said there's someone here in this team who did something so wonderful. He planned to make a presentation to the convener. So Mr. Shola shall be receiving that on behalf of the convener because coincidentally, the convener is not around. He did a translation of the Nigerian Constitution into the 3 main languages. Yeah, you can clap, please. Because I think it's a very, very wonderful feat. And it's something that we hope that at UAC, we are able to take this up and bring it up to the national scale until it is recognized, as a contribution to development of Nigeria and how this can be further scaled. Yeah, so Mr. Prince Ade Ajayi did that and is presenting that. Yeah. Okay, where's paparazzi? Anyone with a camera who has a very smartphone that can do that for us? Okay, yeah, thank you. You can take that.
On behalf of our convener, Dr. Muiz Banere, and the entire member of UAC. We want to sincerely appreciate Prince Ade Ajayi for this noble gesture. You don't know what you have done, how impactful this will be to our community and understanding of the way Nigeria is structured. We thank you sincerely, and we pray that God will give you strength to continue to appreciate and do more for Nigeria. And I pray that God will bless you, bless your generation, and bless your children. And the good thing of Nigeria, you too will partake in it. Your generation will partake in it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And lastly, we want someone from the United Action for Change, and it's part of our tradition when we have a gathering like this. We invite someone to tell us briefly about what UAC does and how you can also partner with UAC to do what we do. Any volunteer from the UAC team? Okay, quickly.
UAC, Change Nigeria. UAC is non-governmental organizations, which is based on fighting the cause of humanity. We have our three major programs. The program number one is youth leadership training, which we have been doing for the past 7 years. And this year is in the pipeline. Then the second one is roundtable, like we are doing right now. We always take an issue of national interest and call people expert on it to come and lecture us about the positions and the way out. And we normally write a report like this one. Now there's going to be a report, comprehensive report of what has happened today, all the papers, all the contributions, we put it together, and we normally send it to different government organizations. And again, we also have a program, we call it National Discourse. We call it People's Assembly. We normally do that once in a year. The first one that took place in 2015 and thereabout is this present vice president that is chairman of that occasion. And we continue, we brought Fashola, a lot of people who have something to offer this country to that program. It's once in a year. Those are the three main programs. Our meeting come up every fortnight. Like next coming Saturday now, the meeting will be coming up Sunday rather. Next Sunday, not tomorrow. The meeting will be coming up at number 12B, Ladoke Akintola Street, GRA Ikeja. We also do a lot of advocacy. If you have any legal issue that you don't have money to pay for a lawyer, we can contact us. We'll also help you out. We have done that on pro bono. Let's just put it that way. Pro bono, we don't ask for money. We don't want you to come with a very serious case or a serious issue that needs redress. Again, we have also done a lot of homework. We prepare a lot of law in form of bill, and we present it to National Assembly, State Assembly, Lagos State, Ogun State, or your state, and these are what we do. We also have what we call health insurance scheme for some of our members. And this year, last Sunday, people were there to fill the form, and Lagos State, Ilere Eko has already sent tests to a lot of them. And this is what we do on a yearly basis. And these are some of the things we need to tell you. We welcome you if you want to join us. We are determined to change Nigeria. That's why in the meeting, when we commence by 3, by 4:30, the meeting end. Just like the Mr. Lekki have to beg, because that's our culture. We don't delay anybody. It's because some of you came late. That's why we have to extend it for about 30, 40 minutes. And that's UAC for you. We welcome you as you join us.
Yeah, thank you very much on behalf of the convener of UAC, Dr. Moise Adeyemi Banire, SNOON. Am I right? Yeah, so we want to thank you all for coming. And like we said, we will sincerely work hard to ensure that this is not just a talk show that will make it a reality. We'll put in structures and programs to practicalize it. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming. As part of our process, we would end with regular prayers, which is the second stanza of the national anthem. May we all rise? O God of creation, thy noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Change Nigeria. Nigeria first.